Welcome into another episode of the Sports Hub right here on SBTV. I'm Michael Wengrzyn, and alongside with me, Alex Strouf and Jackson Jirik. How was your experience down at WBA's in Madison on Saturday?
It was good. We made some connections. We won some awards, and we had a good time with the staff from both 90 FM and SBTV. I for one had a very nice time over the weekend.
I had a great time too. I think I took like a 4-hour nap when we got there, so it was pretty good. I went to dinner. It was amazing. I had a blast. Yeah,
a lot of great opportunities to network with professionals down there. And as Alex, as you said, mentioned, both 90 FM and SBTV represented Stevens Point very well in winning some awards. So congrats to everybody who was able to win something.
Absolutely.
On today's episode, we'll talk about the UWSP men's hockey team, the Badgers men's basketball success, dive in the NFL free agency, and then take a look at the NBA season. The UWSP men's hockey season came to an end in a 4-2 loss at the KB Willett Arena on Saturday in the WIAC championship game. The Pointers jumped out to an early advantage in the first period with goals by Steven Quagliata and Breanna Miller, but the Blue Goals would answer back big time, scoring once late in the first and then 3 more times in the second. The loss snapped the Pointers' 15-game unbeaten streak and 9-game win streak. This is also the first time since 2013 that the Pointers will not be playing in the national tournament. What are your thoughts on the end of the program's season this year?
Woo, that's tough. That's a tough way to go down, man. A team that really didn't start out too hot, hadn't lost a game since December 8th or December 7th, comes all the way back. They're top 7 in the nation. They're really making a case for maybe being able to defend their undefeated national title from a year ago. And then they fall in the biggest stage that they've reached this season and ultimately don't get the bid, which was announced today. Ultimately, the team from the WIAC was Eau Claire. So it's a tough way to go down. Obviously, you want the opportunity to defend your national championship, and they won't have that, like I said. But nonetheless, it was a solid season, especially the way they turned it around. However, at the end of the day, it is always disappointing if you don't even get the chance to go to the NCAA tournament. If you're a team that is at the caliber of, as such as UWSP men's hockey. So I don't want to say the season was a failure completely, obviously being the regular season WIAC champ, being the 1 seed in the WIAC tournament. Those are both good things you want to do every year. But ultimately, when you don't make the tournament, that is a disappointment, at least in some regard.
Yeah, definitely a disappointment for the Pointers men's team. Overall, in the game, Michael and you and I got to call that. They started strong. First 10 minutes, it was all Pointers. It looked like it was going to be their way the whole time. And then the Blue Goals really turned that game around, got a late goal, a lucky goal that just kind of rode up Billings' back and into the back of the net. And then from there, it was Blue Goals. I mean, Pointers couldn't get anything going, gave up really sloppy goals, just didn't look like the team that we saw that was on that 15-game unbeaten streak and on that 9-game win streak. And they weren't the team for the last 2.5 periods, roughly. And unfortunately, it came to an end. Blue Gold's a great team. Overall in the season, a good season, but as Alex said, a disappointment. Don't get the chance to defend your title. And unfortunately, not even making the tournament. Blue Gold did get that first-round bye into the tournament. As I watched the selection show, only one team that lost in their tournament championship made it, that being Hobart. So we obviously disappointed, but it's the end of the season, and I'm sure Tyler Kruger's preaching to their team, that's it. We're going to focus on the next season, get back to it, get back to work. I'm sure he's already looking at recruits if he hasn't started already this year, and I think that's the biggest thing is just Tyler Kruger's mentality is, okay, this year's done, let's focus on the next year.
Yeah, there was a lot of expectation for this Pointers hockey team going into this season. Obviously, they were the defending national champions. They came off of the first undefeated season as national champions as well, so there was hopes that the Pointers would be able to add up to that success or live up to it. Obviously, they lost a lot of seniors from the year before that won 2 national championships in that group. But nonetheless, though, also, too, you got to also look at the fact that goaltending this year, as it has been in the past few years, was kind of a question mark at the beginning of the season. It really kind of came back to haunt the Pointers towards the end there. I mean, no no discredit to Eli Billing, had a solid season overall, but he was really thrown into this role after Connor Rickman transferred to Northern Michigan, a D1 program. So nonetheless, though, I think when it came time to maybe not as strong of a foundation as it has been the past few seasons, maybe that probably came back and hurt the Pointers in the long run, because they did mention, as both of you have said, came back from quite a huge hole that they dug for themselves, but unfortunately it was just too late and it wasn't the right time for them in the first place.
Yeah, Billing was, I mean, as you said, no discredit to him, but slow start in the beginning of the season, but then really once he picked it up, I mean, he had a great game on Saturday, even though they scored 4 goals. Arguably 3 of those goals weren't his fault. Had one unlucky one that rode up his back, had a turnover. Jake Bresser, a great player out of Eau Claire, I mean, just alone on the breakaway after the turnover, and then just a defensive breakdown on their 3rd goal, I think it was. They just really took advantage of the Pointers' sloppy play, and Eli Billing was obviously the man in the net, and nothing he could do in that part. But Billing is going to be a good goaltender next year. I mean, a junior going into this year or going into next year, and the Pointers, I think the biggest question mark for them is they're losing 2 guys from their top line, Kelly O'Brien and Luke McElhaney, 2 of their top point getters. So now you got to look at Zach Zeck to lead that team. Probably going to be a captain next year. One of the top point getters on that team. I think he was 2nd overall. They combined for like 87 points this year overall in their season. So a very good year for that top line. But I think we're losing 6 seniors this year, and I want to say 4 of them are in the top of the points. And Stephen Quagliata tied the record for most goals in a season by a defenseman with 11. That's amazing for him, but we're going to lose him. So it'll be interesting to see where the Pointers go from there to replace those seniors and the leaders of that team.
They're going to do it all over again, exactly what they did last year. And I think, and obviously we're several months out from this, but beginning of the season might be some cracks in the foundation, something they have to build on top of. This just puts into perspective how special what they did a year ago was, right? Having a completely undefeated season and winning a natty. I mean, that's unheard of. It's never happened before, right? That is the only time it's happened in either men or women's hockey at any division. So it just puts into perspective how difficult it is to have a team that is that darn good that can go an entire season without a scratch. Next season, we're going to take some more scratches, but I know this team's going to be hungry. They're going to be determined, and they're going to want to get back to the NCAA tournament.
Definitely, for sure. And Tom Weaver said it best on the broadcast on the Pointers Sports Network. Last year, the Pointers won the national championship right there on their home ice, and then this season, unfortunately, it came to an end on that very same in that very same rink as well. So it's quite a change in how the past 2 seasons have been, from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows, as the Pointers finished this season with an overall record of 18-7-3. 5 players from UWSP received either all WIAC honors or honorable mentions this season. Now, in a different sense, in a season of highs and lows, the Badgers men's basketball team turnaround has culminated with a share of the Big Ten title and a clinch of the #1 seed for the Big Ten tournament. The team won 8 straight games to close out the regular season and 9 out of their last 10. Although the tournament has yet to be played, head coach Greg Gard was named the Big Ten Coach of the Year by the USA Today Network. What are your reactions to this late season play, this late season turnaround, and your expectations for the team going into the tournament?
Did I hear somebody wanted Greg Gard fired 2 months ago? Because I think I heard a lot of people saying that. Wow.
I may have been guilty.
Yeah, you might have been, because holy smokes, what a turnaround has occurred for the Badgers men's basketball team. Like you said, 8 straight, 1 seed in the Big Ten tournament. They share a regular season title. Nobody expected this, and I mean nobody expected this from the Badgers this season. This team has been playing incredibly well, especially since, and I'm not saying this little fire under them or anything, but maybe I am, when Kobe King decided to transfer to Nebraska. So ever since then, this team has been rolling, and they've really had the ups and downs this season. You mentioned it. I mean, back in January, we had the Badgers win over Ohio State in Ohio State when they were ranked 5th in the nation. You have different wins against, currently there was a sweep against the team that ranks 19th, a win over number 11, and now obviously Ohio State, who's now ranked 9. So, I mean, you've got big wins across the board, and they're showing that they're capable of doing this. They're 7-1 in conference play at home. Now the conference tournament runs through their home court up until, obviously, the finals. But nonetheless, they definitely have a case that they could be even up to a 4 seed. And this is the same guy that a couple weeks ago was saying, 8, 9 seed for the Badgers would be good. This is a team that could get as high as a 4 seed, I think, as we're only 6 days out from Selection Sunday. So they've been rolling. Nobody expected this. And my, oh my, it's good to have solid Badgers basketball again in what has been the absolute craziest year of college basketball.
A crazy year nonetheless. For the Badgers, I think highest 4, lowest 7. I don't see anything in between or outside of that, actually. Big Ten championship possible. I think they have a very good chance. Obviously, you mentioned the home court advantage. 7-1 at home. They've played great all year there. I think, if you're going to go there and you got to play the Badgers, good luck, because it's going to be hard to beat them on that home court. Obviously, they're going to start off with Michigan or the Rutgers, both teams which they've beat, both teams which obviously aren't the best and easily can be handled by the Badgers. But I do believe that the Badgers have a very good chance of getting a high seed as a 4 seed in the tournament.
I don't think people look at the Kohl Center enough as a really tough place to play because, as you mentioned it, Alex, they're 7-1 at home in the conference, 15-1 at home this season overall. That, I'm trying to find the words here. The Kohl Center may not be, Chapel Hill, or it may not be Duke or anything like that, but
it is 4th highest for average attendance.
Yeah,
in the nation.
That's the thing too. And with the fact that the Badgers have the home court advantage throughout the Big Ten tournament, of course, leading up to the finals, which is going to be at the Pacers Arena in Indiana, it's going to be really important here for the Badgers to really take advantage of this home court advantage as they have done all season, and really use this turnaround as well to light a fire and really carry on that momentum going into the tournament as well, because even if the Badgers do not win the Big Ten tournament as well, there's very much a very high chance that they will get a seed or a bid into the national tournament nonetheless. So we'll say this, however, just real quick, that back in November, Alex, you and I did a buy or sell question on if the Badgers were going to be competitive in the Big Ten or not this year, and you and I both sold that question.
Really?
I think we have to send that in the Old Takes Exposed because, man, did that really take us by blindside. How
so
much?
Sorry.
Yeah, the Badgers played this so well this year. Nonetheless, our wrong predictions have turned out to be really well, as the Badgers will host either Michigan or Rutgers in the quarterfinal round of the tournament at noon on March 13th. We'll take our first time out here on the Sports Hub, but then when we return, we'll talk about NFL free agency and how the NBA season is going on right now. This is the Sports Hub on SBTV.
I just wanted to get good grades and to do well. But it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that. And it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
Welcome back to the Sports Hub. The NFL free agency period officially starts on March 18th, but the legal tampering period starts on March 16th. The biggest name in free agency this year is no doubt Patriots quarterback Tom Brady, but other notable names on the market list include Phillip Rivers, A.J. Green, Amari Cooper, and Jadeveon Clowney. Who will be making a move this year, and are there any other players in the free agency market that you will be keeping track of?
I mean, of course, you pay attention to every name, right? But these are the 5 big ones, and these are the 5 I'm most intrigued by. Although the Packers won't be making any moves toward any of these guys, more than likely. These are 5 names that all have really, really interesting backgrounds, right? Tom Brady, he's 42 freaking years old. Who wants a 42-year-old quarterback? Well, a lot of teams apparently do. So we're going to find out if he stays in New England or goes elsewhere. Phil Rivers, he's not going back to L.A., and he wants to play football in 2020. He's going to find somewhere to do that. A.J. Green, he hated Cincinnati last year, but Cincinnati's going to be drafting a guy known as Joe Burrow, or the second coming of Broadway Joe, in my opinion. So that means, will he want to stick around in Cincinnati? Amari Cooper wants a contract from Dallas. He's been open about that. We'll see what happens. Jadeveon Clowney's been bouncing around. I imagine he's going to find a big payday. Who will be making a move is questionable. Obviously, we know the Tennessee Titans' ties to Tom Brady. I don't see that happening. Here's another take you can send to No Takes Exposed if you want. I will be shocked if Tom Brady isn't a New England Patriot next year. I'm still stuck on it. I know all the reports that have come out. I don't care. I don't think Tom Brady's leaving New England no matter what happens, unless they randomly assign Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, and somebody else. I don't know. Tom Brady is not going anywhere. But no, I mean, free agency, obviously, always super entertaining. It starts, you said, the legal tampering period a week from today. So next week we'll be talking about a lot of that.
I disagree on Tom Brady. I think he's going to be going somewhere else. To where, I couldn't tell you.
That's fair.
But I just don't think that it's the right fit for the Patriots and for Tom Brady. I think he's going to go somewhere where he gets more help. I don't think there's enough assets for him to go back to New England.
Haven't we seen the storyline year after year?
Yeah, we have.
They have no assets. They have no pieces.
Sure.
Tom Brady's old. We've had this every year.
Was every year, but then they would go on and win a Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah, did they win it this year? No, they got knocked out. They didn't win.
They weren't the same team this year, though.
Yeah, they weren't the same team. You're absolutely right about that. But I think Tom Brady's going to go somewhere where he can be a leader and he has young guys who are looking to learn. What?
I'm just checking off the boxes for New England. Keep going.
What assets does he have in New England?
How can't he be a leader in New England?
I didn't say he can't be a leader, but I think he wants to go somewhere else and be a leader.
I don't think that's happening, honestly. I'm with Alex on this one. I think he's staying in New England.
I don't think he's going to stay in New England, but I don't know where he's going to go. I think he's going to go somewhere else, and I think he's going to sign a 1 to 2 year contract deal. I don't think it'll be the Colts. I don't think it'll be Tennessee, but I do believe he's going to be out of New England.
So not only Tennessee was obviously the number one choice besides New England. Are you on either the San Francisco or Chargers bandwagon?
Or even maybe Vegas. Don't forget the Raiders, I should say.
I could see those teams. It would be crazy to me if he goes to San Francisco. I don't think San Francisco should make that deal. I think they would be dumb if they did make that deal, but we've seen crazier things happen. I think they would be dumb to take out Jimmy G out of their equation, who is a good quarterback, got them to the Super Bowl, didn't perform that well throughout the playoffs. Not that he needed to because the running game was super strong, but I think that it's dumb for the 49ers to go for Tom Brady, although I wouldn't be surprised if that does happen, just as a hot take.
I just have no idea how the NFL would look without Tom Brady in New England. Again, I don't see how it happens. I just don't see the logistics working out and the pieces coming into place. I think it'd be interesting. It'd make for a really fun storyline in the 2020 season, absolutely. But
this could be one of the bad takes we have all year, and I'll take the blame for it, but I don't think he's going to be a New England Patriot in the start of this season.
I think you're an idiot, but we'll leave that off the table.
Well, I mean, you guys are entitled to your own opinions, and that's fair. That's what we do on the show. We talk about what we think is going to be happening, obviously, and to kind of like, obviously Tom Brady's the biggest free agent market. He's the biggest free agent in this market, I should say. And no doubt we could probably go on for like even longer if we wanted to about where Tom Brady could be playing and what could happen down the road for him. But nonetheless, though, some of the other free agents that we mentioned, Jadeveon Clowney, he signed a deal with Seattle from Houston, went from Houston to Seattle. Then, of course, now he's like back on the market now, so there'll be teams I think that might be interested in him.
He'll get a payday.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers, I could see him possibly going to Tampa Bay. I think that makes sense. I think that might make sense. Probably some warm weather city where he has an opportunity to at least play another season, I think. And Tampa Bay, I think, might be the top candidate down there. And of course, Amari Cooper. I think Dallas does not have enough money to sign everybody back from the receiving corps. Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Randall Cobb isn't going to be back in Dallas, no doubt about that. But even then, I think Michael Gallup was the #1 receiver for Dallas's receiving corps. So I think he gets a payday. I think Amari Cooper goes somewhere else. But nonetheless, though, free agency is going to be one wild ride this year, especially with this upcoming season. Now we're going to switch leagues now as we go into the NBA, as they have about 20 games left in their regular season, and each conference has the top team with a respectable lead over the next in the standings. The Milwaukee Bucks still hold the NBA's best record with a 53-11 record, but have hit a small bump in the road due to Giannis's injury. The Toronto Raptors clinched a playoff spot last week in a finals rematch win over Golden State, and meanwhile in the West, the LA Lakers are currently the best and also have clinched the playoff spot, the first time they've done so since 2013. How much could the standings change, and who could be a dark horse come postseason time in April?
The standings are going to change. I don't think the top seeds do, though. I think LA, being the Lakers, and Milwaukee in the East, they remain 1 seeds. I think that stays true as we approach that mid-April deadline. That said, though, I think the middle-of-the-road teams are going to flop all over, right? We have a battle for the 8th seed in the West between 4 teams. I mean, it could be Sacramento, it could be New Orleans, it could be a couple other teams that are in that conversation, Memphis being one of them. So there's going to be teams shifting for the next, we have 18-ish games left. I didn't do the math off the top of my head, but somewhere around there. And so we have plenty of time for changes to occur. Now, when it comes to dark horses, I think there's a couple in each conference. I'll start with the East. A team I've been talking about week after week after week, and this is no surprise for you guys, Miami. I'm still huge on them. We saw them beat Milwaukee the other night. I think that shows that they're capable of showing up in big games. I've been huge on Miami. I remain big on Miami. I think they could make a competent and impressive run in the Eastern Conference playoffs. On the west side of things, I really don't know. I think Oklahoma City has become really interesting.
That's a good pick for them.
Yeah, they've become really interesting to me. I don't know how capable they are, but they've shown up, they've shown out, and they've done way better than anybody's expected it to this year. And they remain in the playoff race they've been in all season long. They have yet to fall out of it. Chris Paul is leading this team very, very well. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander playing terrific basketball. We know how good Steven Adams is. I don't know if they'll win a series, but I think they're going to run deep in their first-round series. I like Oklahoma City. They have even shocked me this year. So those will be my 2 picks as dark horses.
Miami Heat held the Bucks to the lowest score all year in a loss, so that definitely said something for them. I think that they are a good pick for the East. I don't know if I necessarily agree that they make a deep run, but I do think they have the possibility of maybe upsetting someone in the semifinals, or not the semifinals, but the quarterfinals, depending what seed they get. If it's a 5 or a 4, wherever they are, I'm not sure. And then in the West, I do agree with you, Oklahoma City, Chris Paul leading that team. They just beat Boston in a great game. Chris Paul looked great defensively, and they do have younger assets. If you would have told me that Oklahoma City was in the playoff race at the beginning of the NBA season, I would have said you're crazy. But looking at it now, they are a very good team, and a team that could potentially win a series and upset someone up top. Although I do believe that the Bucks, the injury to Giannis isn't as large as it seems. He's going to be out for a couple games, the last 2 on their road trip. We did get a good finals preview if it does come down to those 2 teams, and the Lakers just seem to really handle that game. I watched it when I was in the hotel room, and LeBron and AD, it's almost starting to become those 2 for the MVP, and I know you're not going to like that. But Giannis didn't really show up in that game as much as he should have. And maybe that's just one game. You know, Giannis has been good all year, averaging 30. And I think that if it did come down to 7, I think we would see 7-game series. Obviously, both teams have to make it all the way through the playoff bracket. But I do think that we did get a good preview in that game. And the MVP now is really LeBron, in my mind. As much as you don't like it, but it's a good take. And I do think we see LeBron pick things up here at the end of the season.
Look. I know we have to get to a break, so I'm going to cut you off, and I'm going to respond to that real briefly. So I disagree with the fact LeBron is the runaway MVP right now.
I didn't say runaway.
But if he's even the leader, that's just stupid, and I'll tell you why in a second. Is he picking it up as of late? Yes. Is he playing terrific basketball?
And I
Absolutely.
think he's going to continue.
Is he in the conversation?
Yes, and I think he's the number 2 right now. And
look at the conversation.
Giannis is slowing down, and LeBron's going to continue to pick it up all the way to the playoffs, and I think that's the reason he's going to win it.
But we can't do this. LeBron is the MVP thing when
I'm not
all
saying,
year long we've been doing October. Is it Giannis or is it Harden? And November is it
I know.
Luka or is it
Yeah,
Giannis?
exactly.
We gotta wrap things
Is it
up.
Harden or is right? We've been having
And now it's going to
argument.
be
Giannis has been in the
It's going to
conversation.
be
We gotta wrap this
LeBron over
up.
Giannis.
We have to wrap this
Giannis.
up.
It's
We'll
Giannis.
have.
It's
we'll,
going to
we
be
can
LeBron
talk.
at the end of the season. It's Giannis right now, but LeBron is picking it up, and he's going to take over Giannis, and that's why he's going to win MVP.
We
We're
gotta
gonna go
wrap this
commercial
up.
break now.
Yeah, we'll have another discussion sometime about MVPs later on down the road when we get close to the playoffs starting. But nonetheless, we gotta move on to our final commercial break. We'll come back and we'll do some buy or sell. This is the Sports Hub on SBTV.
UW-Stevens Point is home.
It's a university where professors know your name and get you involved in research.
They inspire us to realize big dreams.
At UW-Stevens Point, sustainability is what we stand for.
Our beautiful campus encourages exploration, developing new fields, and problem solving for the real world.
It's a great place to launch your career.
UW-Stevens Point is home.
Apply today at uwsp.edu.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
Welcome back to the Sports Hub. We'll do some classic buy or sell to close things out here. First one, Josh Norman, who just signed a one-year deal with the Buffalo Bills, will not even last the full season with the team.
I'm actually going to sell this, but I think that's a funny question. But no, I think he does make it.
I don't think so. I think he's just too washed up. Plain and simple. I'm gonna sell it or buy it. Actually.
He's still competent.
I'm going to buy it as well. You know, I'm with you, Jax, on this one. I think he's kind of regressed a little bit. He's not the same cornerback that he was in Carolina. So I think this season is not really going to be too well for him out in Buffalo. So 2 buys and a sell here on our end for Josh Norman. Next one. The Brewers are the favorites to win the NL Central this season. I'm going to have to sell this one as well. I think you look at a team like St. Louis, they're going to be tough to beat this year. Cincinnati's picked it up, and Chicago's always in the race. So I'm going to sell this as the absolute favorites. Again, I wasn't a big fan of Milwaukee's offseason. I like the Brock Holt move a lot, but overall wasn't a huge fan of their offseason. I think they'll be in the race. I think they absolutely should be because this is a team that's been there the last few years. But I don't think they are the favorite.
I'm going to agree with Alex on this one. I don't think they're the favorite. I think the Reds win the division. They're a good team. They picked up a lot in the offseason. Milwaukee did not. They only got Brock Holt. I mean, some other guys, but they lost a lot of big pieces there. They're not the favorite. Wild card 1, 2, no higher than that.
I'll make things different here. I'll actually buy it. You know what? I know the Christian Yelich deal was huge for the Brewers, a 9-year deal, $215 million that runs through 2028 with an exercise option for the year after that. So it's going to be a much more competitive NL Central this year, which will be fun to watch. But I'll buy it just for the sake that the Brewers are still going to be competitive, even with a guy like Christian Yelich on their team. Final one, a little bit of tournament basketball here this week as it starts up. The 4 1 seeds in the March Madness tournament will be Kansas, Gonzaga, Baylor, and Dayton.
I'm selling this for the following reason. I don't think having 2 Big 12 teams as a 1 seed is going to happen. Florida State is the top-ranked ACC team right now. We know Duke is right there as well. I think an ACC team likely swoops a 1 seed just because it seems they do every year. If that doesn't happen, then I think San Diego State, as long as they win their conference tourney, make a case. I don't think Baylor gets it. I think Kansas wins the Big 12. And I think Baylor falls to a 2 seed, especially with their loss on Sunday. So I'm going to sell this, but I will take the other 3 as 1 seeds.
I completely 100% agree with you. I do believe that it's going to be San Diego State as 1 seed as long as they win their conference championship, and that is the only reason for that.
Want to throw this for me?
No, that's your thing.
Okay.
I'll sell that, actually. You know what? I think, San Diego State does make a case to get back in. Of course, it's just going to come down to whether or not they win the conference tourney. Again, I'm still not 100% sure I can say that for certain because this college basketball season has been crazy.
It's going to be a fun week.
Exactly. So that's all the time we have for you on today's show. I'd like to thank Alex and Jackson, as well as our technical staff and all the hard work to make this show possible. Be sure to check out our Facebook page at SBTV UWSP Television. Follow us on Instagram at SBTV_UWSP, and check our Twitter pages as well. Lastly, go to the UWSP Athletics page for all things Pointer sports. We'll be taking the next couple of weeks off due to spring break, but until then, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Sports Hub.
The Hub!